I finished Into the Dark, and this is the last or like newest book that's coming out in February from the Magnolia Park series, and I cannot think about reading any other book right now. I literally have the biggest book hangover ever, so that is the perfect time for me to do a book on haul. I am planning on hauling over 100 books, and I'm really excited to go through all these with you guys just to see if you guys think I should let them go or not. So make sure you guys are subscribed because there's new videos on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, but also comment below if you see a book in this little haul that you think I should keep, because really, I just grab the books that really aren't giving me like the excitement to pick them up, and if a book isn't giving me excitement to pick it up, I feel like I'll never pick it up. And some of these books have been on my TBR since like 2019, 2018, so some of them gotta go, and I'm just gonna put them all into free little libraries, and so it's just really gonna bless someone else who wants to read, because these are all great books. But I just have a different taste than I used to. Like, I'm not really big into spice anymore. Like, I don't read a ton of books with a ton of spice, and if it does have spice, I want it to have like a lot of substance. Like in Love and Other Words, there's spice, but I feel like there's so much passion and connection, and there are so many just like beautiful words between each other. It's literally called Love and Other Words, that I feel like the spice doesn't take over the plot. I also I'm not really a huge fan of fiction. I do want to read more fiction this year, but I feel like the fiction I picked up in the past was like stuff that was like overly hyped, and maybe it was good, maybe it wasn't, I never read it, but there's so many good books that are coming out in this year. And if you guys watched my video with my full physical TBR, I literally have like 200 or over 200 books on my TBR that are just like books I want to read and I just may never get to. And I never want to put myself onto a book buying ban, and so I feel like this is a great way for me to just like bless someone else in a free little library, but also for me to like only have books in my house that I'm like naturally gravitating towards. So let's get into all these books, and if you guys see a book that you think I should keep, let me know in the comments below. But yeah, I think we're gonna get rid of a lot of books. We're gonna start out with this first stack, and all of these books are just like so random. This first book is The Next Door Nemesis by Alexa Martin. My mom actually picked this out for me to read in the last video that we did together, the first video that we did together, and I already owned this book, so I don't need 2 copies, so that's why this one is going to go. I also picked up The Perfect Find by Tia Williams. I've heard this book is good, but I'm just not really a fiction girly anymore, so I think that that one's gonna go. I read the first book in the series. This is called The Redemption of Callie and Caden by Jessica Sorensen. I read the first book in this series years ago, like literally like 2010 or 2013 or something like that. And I own it, but I bought the rest of the books and just like never read them. So I don't think I'm ever gonna get to them because I'm probably not gonna read the first book again. Also picked up No One Saw a Thing. I don't know why this book isn't like drawing me to it. So if someone's read it, again, comment below if there's any books that you guys see that you think I'll like, but I don't know, I just don't feel like I'll ever pick up this book. Also, this is a book that I recently picked up. It's Britney Spears' memoir. I don't think I'm gonna read this, mostly just because I'm not a big memoir girl, but also I didn't really keep up with Britney Spears' life or just like all the drama that was going on in the tabloids. And I feel like if I didn't keep up with it then I don't really care to read it now. Also, Honey Girl by Morgan Rogers is a book that I've had on my TBR for literally forever, and it's just time to move on to another home where I feel like someone will read it. You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogle is a book that I feel like not a lot of people have read, but also like people who read it rated it like 3.5 stars, and I had so many 3 and 3.5 star rated books last year, and I just want to have way higher ratings, especially coming off of a book hangover. I just cannot do like 10 3-star books. Like, I will literally just like want to throw all my books out the window. Also, In Every Mirror She's Black by Lola Akinmaid Ackerstrom. This book is a debut book, but it is about 3 women who are linked to the same influential white man as they build new lives in Stockholm. And this is just a work of fiction. Again, fiction just isn't really grabbing me. Ride or Die by Gail Agnes Musikavanu. This is actually a thriller, but I think the cover is what's throwing me, but also some people have given this like not the best reviews, and I'm super picky with my thrillers. Like, I don't think I've ever rated anything over 4 stars, like even Never Lie by Freida McFadden is still a 4-star read for me, because thrillers, you don't connect to the characters, you connect to the plot. So for the thriller to get like very highly rated, I feel like it's just super rare. So I'm just gonna give that to another home. Luster by Raven Leilani. This is a book about I think a woman who is in an open relationship, and I do want to read more books with different types of relationships, but this book in particular, I've heard just not the best reviews about it, and maybe I'm just taking reviews like too heavily, but I feel like I really trust you guys, and if you guys say that something like isn't that good or you don't think that I'll like it, I feel like I do trust your judgment because you guys know me well, because we read a lot of the same types of books. So that one is just going to go to another home. The Heart Principle by Helen Huang. This is the same author who I think wrote The Kiss Quotient. And this will probably be good, but I also feel like it's just gonna be another 3.5 star read, so we're just gonna send it on. I'm really gonna try to finish this fast. So this one I was actually super on the fence about, so if you read this book, let me know. It's called Ties That Tether by Jane Igharo. So I actually thought that this was fiction, but I think that it's romance, and so if you guys think that this is a book that I would like, let me know. It says, when a Nigerian woman falls for a man she knows will break her mother's heart, she must choose between love and her family. And I'm pretty sure she falls in love with like a white guy, but her family like just isn't wanting her to marry him. I am really hesitant about giving this one away, so let me know your thoughts if you've read it and if you think that it's good. The only thing that's really making me like lean towards maybe giving it away is there isn't a ton of dialogue, and I always do this check whenever I'm looking for books. I kind of just like breeze through the book to see like how much dialogue there is in each book. I will say there are short chapters, which I think is good, but there's just not like a ton of dialogue, so I'm a big dialogue girl. Like there has to be a lot of dialogue for me to like the book. Also, His and Hers by Alice Feeney is a book that just is not gripping me. I read Rock, Paper, Scissors and rated it 4 stars, but this author writes thrillers that I feel like take a while to really get into, and at this stage in my life, we need quick thrillers. Like we need them to get right into it, because if I'm gonna take time on a book, it's gonna be a romance, it's not gonna be a thriller. Also, The Lake by Natasha Preston is a book that I picked up that you can literally tell that I don't even care that much about it because the Target sticker is still on it, and that's just like a sign that it's time to go. But this is actually a YA thriller. I think it was in the YA section, and I don't know. I really just grabbed a lot of books that I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna like it. It's not pulling me to it, and I have so many more books on my TBR. Like I literally just did a whole haul with like over 30 books from Amazon, and I'm sure I'll buy a ton more books in this year. And so I wanted to unhaul almost the same amount of books that I read last year, because I know that I have so many books on my TBR, and I feel like it's just like I don't need to have books that I'm not going to read, you know what I mean? All the Dangerous Things by Stacey Willingham. I actually read a book by this author. It was called The Soulmate. I think she wrote that book, and I didn't really care for it. I think I rated it like 2 stars, so I'm like, maybe this isn't a thriller author for me. Addicted to You by Kristen Becca Ritchie. This was a big one that came through from TikTok. There are so many books in this list that were in like people's TikTok favorites, and I just don't think that TikTok book recs are really my vibe. Like I feel like a lot of book recs on TikTok are like books that new readers are reading, which I think is great, but sometimes like I just need a little bit more. Like I need a little bit more depth, not too much, like not too much. I don't need, you know, like a classic, I don't need it to be like super wordy or anything, but sometimes I just need a little bit more, which is, there's nothing wrong with my change in my taste, and there's nothing wrong with the books I used to love or the books that I love now. Like a lot of Coho's books are in here because I just don't really read her books as much, but I still am obsessed with the ones that I did read in the time that I read them, because at that time they were some of my favorite books and I was obsessed with her writing. So I am letting go of some of the TikTok books that I just don't think that I'll really get to because I don't really care to read them. Throttle by Lauren Asher is a book that's about like Formula One, but it's a romance. I love Lauren Asher's writing. I read the whole Dreamland Billionaire series, was obsessed with it, but I don't care about Formula One, and I've heard that these books actually share a lot of like the back end of Formula One along with the romance, and I literally don't care about Formula One. Lessons in Chemistry. This was one that I was very hesitant to give away, so let me know if you guys think that I should give this to a Free Little Library or not. Again, I'm not a big fiction girly, and I did keep some fiction on my shelf for me to read later on, but there's a lot that I want to give away because I bought so much fiction last year thinking that I was going to read a lot of fiction, and I didn't. And I do want to read some this year, but again, I don't want to like ever get into a book slump. I've literally never gotten to one because I'm so particular about what I read. So I think we're going to send that one on. You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty by Akwe Imzi. This author is, I think it's a debut book, I'm pretty sure. A lot of people really love this book, but this is, again, another work of fiction. Well, actually, no, it says it's a classic love story in this witty and seductive novel about a young woman seeking joy while healing from loss. I didn't know that. For some reason, I thought she was like getting her first job or something like that. Oh no, I do remember this. A lot of people say that this book is kind of unhinged. Maybe that's why. I just was like, I don't think that I'm like super excited about it. Let me know if I should keep it. The Hate U Give, I read this one years ago. I think I read it like in 2019 or 20, whenever it first like came out, I read it. And it's good, but personally, I don't need to read it again. I don't want to read about police and the police system with Black people and the way that they treat so many people in my community. I feel like it can be extremely triggering, especially with things that I've just seen my friends and family go through. And so when I read, I like to learn and read about things that I think will bring knowledge to my life, but also I do not like to literally inflict more trauma on myself from like a young adult book or just an adult book in general. So I think that if you aren't really familiar with the way that the systems in the United States just treat like different communities, I think that this would be a good book to read. But if you're well aware or you're part of that community, I think sometimes it can be easy to just take in too much of that. And so read this, don't want to read it again. And Queenie, this is a book that you guys actually said was a book that a lot of you did not like. I think one person said that you liked it because she's very unhinged and she's a very unlikable character. Part of me was like, maybe I should read it because maybe I will like it. So I'm still on the fence about this one, but let me know what you guys think if I should get rid of it or not. Usually the big test for me is like if I flip through it and I see pages like this where it's very few page breaks and it's all just like mostly dialogue like this. Like there's very few page breaks. That just means there's not a lot of dialogue. I will say there are some text in here, so that kind of makes me excited to read it. But let me know your thoughts on that one. When in Rome is a big TikTok book. So many of us, I feel like, were encouraged to read from TikTok. I know that I love fluffy romances. Like I love a fluffy romance, but I think if I'm going to read a fluffy romance, it's probably going to be from Christina Forrest or it's going to be from Elise Bryant, from authors that I just like love who are Black authors, or if I'm going to read something from maybe a white author, it might be like Abby Jimenez. She writes a lot of like fluffy romances. I read The Cheat Sheet by this author. I thought it was super cute. I think I rated it 3 stars, but again, I want to read books that I feel like I will rate a lot higher. So again, if you think that I should keep this, let me know, but I think I'm going to send it on. X's and O's by Amy Leah. This is the second book in a series. I still have the first one on my TBR. So if I like the first one and want to like really get into the second one, I can pick this up again. The thing about this like unhaul that's nice is like these are all going to people who probably do not have access to books, and if I get the inkling to like want to read any of these books again, I can literally just repurchase them, because normally I go to the bookstore whenever I pick up books from Free Little Libraries, and now I'm just like grabbing them off my own shelf. Yellowface is another book that I'm like, it's just time to get it off my shelf. It did just come out and I have heard great things about it, but I've also heard not the best things from some people that I really trust with their reviews. So yeah, I think I'm gonna send this one on. We have to go faster, like truly, so I might just start like bopping through these. 99% Mine by Sally Thorne. This is the author who wrote The Hating Game, and The Hating Game was cute, but I think again it would be another like 3.5 star read. It's nothing crazy. Maybe not. I actually have the whole series in here from Colleen Hoover, because there's a trope in this book that I just absolutely hate. So I feel like I will not like this series. Single Dads Club. I initially picked this up because I was like, this would be really cute. It's by Therese Bear, but it has a trope like, there's a child in it. I guess I won't say that there's a trope that I don't like. There's literally a child in it. Why would I not think that the book is about a man with his child? I do not know. But also, one, I don't really like books from men's perspectives. I don't know why. I just like don't really care for it. And two, I don't really care for books with kids that much in it. And I don't know why. Maybe because I don't have kids or really want kids. But I just am not interested in reading a ton of books like that. The Deal by Elle Kennedy, this series is so long. And I just know if I read this book and like it, I will not continue the series. Like, it's so long. Like, I feel like this book is similar to the Addicted books. It like got super popular on TikTok, and there's no way I'm gonna be able to keep up with it. The Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes. It's a good book, I feel like, but I just don't think that I'll ever get to it. 5-Star Weekend by Ellen Hildebrand. This is giving like Where the Crawdads Sing, like, you know, I don't think that I'll like it. And speaking of Where the Crawdads Sing, I also have that in here. It is by Delia Owens. These are books that I think my mom would really like. Would I like them? I don't know. Old Enough by Haley Jacobson. I don't think that I will hate this book, but I don't think that I'm gonna love it. And I really want a lot of books on my TBR that I'm gonna love. Now, this series, I do think that I will love. Oh my god, I'm literally dropping stuff. One of you guys actually said that I needed to read this series. I am reading this series. I just own this, I own the first book in the new edition because it's a lot smaller. These books are huge. They're literally so thick and so tall, and the words are so tiny, which is extremely intimidating. The new books are thinner, floppier, and the text is a little bit bigger. So I think I'm gonna give the old editions away, and then I'm gonna keep, I already bought book one, so I'm gonna keep that one. My Soul to Keep by Kennedy Ryan. I heard that she's coming out with new covers for this series. So I don't want to like buy book one because this is book one. I don't want to buy book one in the old cover and then like whenever the new ones are re-released, like buy the new ones again. So I'm just gonna like get rid of the old one. All My Rage by Sabaa Tahir. This sounds like a really good book. It also sounds like a book that's gonna really make me hate humanity. And I don't really need that. I don't need more of that this year. Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating by Christina Lauren. This actually has like almost 4 stars on Goodreads. And unlike most people, I actually liked The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. And I loved, of course, Love in Other Words. So I thought about keeping this, but then part of me is like, would I actually like it? I don't know. Is it going to be a book that I'm really obsessed with? I don't know. So if I'm really on the fence about this one. So if you guys think that I should keep this one, let me know. If you've read it, if you liked it. What Happened to the Bennetts by Lisa Scottoline. This is a thriller. It just doesn't look that interesting to me. I think they're like in a car for most of it, or well, I don't know. I don't know. It just doesn't draw me to it. And there's some books that you just look at that you've had for so long. If you look at them any longer, like you know that you're not going to read them. And so that book is one of those. The Girl with Stars in Her Eyes by Zoe Axelrod. There's nothing about this book that makes me excited to read it, and I think it's because, again, it is a fiction book and it's really thick. I just don't have an interest in reading it, but if you read it and if you liked it, please let me know. I'm super open to like keeping a lot of these books. I just feel like I need someone to be like, no, that book is good, like please keep it. Because these books have sat on my shelf for so long that I'm just like not excited to read them. To Win It is a book about a girl who I think she is competing for a property. That's what it is. She's competing for a property with another guy, and I think they're rivals, and I literally have another book on my TBR with this exact same plot, so I just don't want 2 of them. And Hooked is a dark romance. Now, you guys know I'm not a dark romance girl. I did a video reading dark romance, and literally after I got done with it, I felt so icky. It's just not my vibe. Like, and now there are people who enjoy dark romance, which is totally fine. I just do not enjoy it. So I don't think that I'll like this book. Maybe I will. If you guys think that I'll like it, let me know. But with that same vein, I'm also getting rid of the Mind F series by S.T. Abbey because I don't think that I'll like this book. It's another dark romance. And Unlikely Event by Rebecca Yarros. Never read anything from her, but I somehow own like 3 of her books on my TBR. I'm keeping one of them because I do not need that many of them. You guys know how weird I am about like reading books by new authors. I just don't do it very often. It's like, kind of nerve-wracking for me, unless it's like maybe a Black author that like a lot of people don't know about, because in my head I'm like, okay, there's no real reviews for this, so I kind of have to like figure out on my own if I like it. Whereas if there's a lot of reviews for a book, I just am kind of like, so many people have already read it, like some people hate it, some people love it. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, if there's no reviews, it almost like helps me just like dive into the book. Black Cake by Charmaine Wilkerson. I know so many of you guys have said that this book is good, and so many of you guys also love the TV show, but I just don't think I'll like this book because there is so little dialogue. Like, this whole page right here is straight no dialogue. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, what are y'all talking about? No, there's like 2 sentences. It's like someone saying something, and then everything else is just like, I guess, their thoughts. I don't know. Collided by Lauren Asher. This is book 2 in the Dirty Air series with the Formula One riders. The Bromance Book Club by Alyssa K. Adams. Another TikTok book that I just like, I'm not excited to read. Maybe Now. This is in the series Maybe Someday with Colleen Hoover, and I want to give both these books away because, again, I'm just not like super into Colleen Hoover's books. I still love some of her books, like Reminders of Him. I really enjoyed that book. Verity, I really enjoyed Verity, but there's just some books that I like. I don't know. I read like what did I read recently? I read something recently and I was just like, eh. Oh, Layla, that's what it was. I was like, I don't really like that book. And like, I've read some of her other books and I'm just like, Make It Sweet by Kristen Callahan. There's nothing about this book that's drawing me to it, and it's not even bad. Like it says, he was grumpy, gruff, and able to create sweetness in the most unexpected of ways. I think it's just been on my bookshelf too long. Like, a lot of these books are so good, but they've just been on my bookshelf so long that I'm just not excited about them anymore. And there's so many new books that have come out that I just am like, these are going to sit and collect dust, and I hate clutter, so they gotta go. Bullied by Penelope Douglas. I feel like if someone's not obsessed with me, they gotta go. Like, if you're not obsessed with me, I'm probably not gonna like the romance. And this is literally where he is like a bully to her. Like, I don't think he beats her up or anything, but he is a bully. More Than Words by Mia Sheridan. This is the author who wrote, what's it called? Wow, I literally can't even think of it. Archer's Voice. And I thought that this would be a good book to read. I haven't read it, but there's just nothing that's making me excited about it. And I did keep one of her other books. I think it's called Stringer or Stratosphere or something. It's like where they're in Vegas, and I thought that would be fun to read, but I just don't need them all. The Coldest Winter Ever by Sister Souljah. I know that this is a classic, and so many of you guys have said that I should read it. But again, there's just nothing that excites me about this book, and maybe it's just the cover. I don't know. I think looking at the cover, it gives that it's going to be super spicy. And again, I'm not super into like spicy books, so I figured I would let that one go. This Side of Home by Renee Watson. This has been on my TBR since like 2018. So it's time to go. And this is about gentrification. It is about Maya and Nikki, who they're 2 identical twins, and one twin is excited that like new things are coming in, like Starbucks and all this stuff, and things are getting torn down in their town, and then, or their neighborhood. And the other sister is like, I want to keep all of the just like community that we have here. So you get to see 2 perspectives. It sounds good, but like, I don't know. I just haven't been in a romance or thriller mood. There hasn't really been anything else that I've been wanting to read lately. Lying in the Wait by Liz Nugent has very little dialogue. I think that's why I grabbed this book. Also, I'm super weird. Like, if some books, like, the text looks really like it bleeds a lot, I don't like the book. So anyway, someone convinced me to keep these books if you think I should keep them. The Power of the Dog by Thomas Savage. I actually picked this up when I was in Germany, and I don't think that I'm gonna read this. There's like no dialogue again in this one, and I feel like I'll get super bored. The Banned Bookshop of Maggie Banks by Shauna Robinson. This actually looks really cute, but again, it is not a romance. It is fiction, and I just am not being drawn to it. A lot of these books are great books. Honestly, all these books are great books, but there's just nothing drawing me to them. The Brightest Light of Sunshine by Lysenia Coney. I don't even know why I picked this book. I was just like, it's been sitting on my TBR for so long, and will I ever get to it? I don't know. Like, I literally have so many books on my TBR, and someone else would probably love to read that today or tomorrow. Dare You to Hate Me by B. Celeste. Never read anything from this author, but it says, I dare you to hate me, Ivy, because we both know you don't. You couldn't even if you tried. This is actually like, looks really good, but I have so many sports romance on my TBR that I feel like I do not need anymore. Like hockey, basketball, like I just, you know, let's not. And I also have 3 books. They're all kind of like the same. This is Anchor Me, The Misses, and Lost With Me. These are both by Jay Kenner. Anchor Me and The Misses, or Anchor Me and Lost With Me. And then The Misses is by E.L. James. This is the person who wrote 50 Shades of Grey. These are straight erotica, and I did not know that going into these books. I thought that they would be a little bit more of a plot. These are actually the like 3rd and 4th books, because I started reading the first book and was like, wow, this book is like really good. And I bought the rest of the series years ago for these 2. And yeah, you guys just like, I used to read a lot more spice, but I just don't really anymore. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm like, there's only so many ways you can write spice, and I'm in for the plot. Blood Wedding by Pierre Lemaitre. This book looks like it's going to be a horror, and I do not want to read a horror. I know I just got this book not that long ago, but I cannot read it. I'm so sorry. It's called The Build Up by Tati Richardson. It is so small, and there's something about small books. I just can't do it. I think it's because the words are small. I'm super weird about text. The words are small. Also, the book doesn't like flop open, so it like goes in really easily. Maybe I'll read it on Kindle if it's on Kindle. I don't know if it is or not yet, but I just cannot read it in this like small book. But if I do end up reading it on Kindle, I will let you guys know. Wreck the Halls by Tessa Bailey, Christmas book. You know, we're gonna get rid of a lot of Christmas books. The Christmas Fix by Lucy Score, This Winter by Alice Oseman, Faking Christmas by Carrie Winfrey, Winter in New York by Josie Silver, Kiss Her Once for Me by Allison Cochran. These are all Christmas books, and I am getting rid of them and putting them in free little libraries because I know myself. I know that next year I will be buying more Christmas books. Now, I did keep a lot of the books by Black authors just because I feel like they're a little harder to find, and not that they're not written, like they're definitely written, but I feel like people just aren't reading them and talking about them as much. So I want to keep those because I'll probably read those next year, or maybe like late November, October or something. But there are just so many, like these are literally 6 Christmas books. Like this is like half my TBR, like on a month or something. So yeah, I am going to let those go to another home. The Hookup Plan by Farrah Rochen. I actually have the first book in this series, which is called The Boyfriend Project. Have not read it yet, but I have noticed that I have bought a lot of books in series that I haven't even read yet, and I don't normally do that. Like usually I will buy one book and read that one book and that's it. And I think it's because in my mind, I'm like, okay, I have so many of them. Will I start it? Like, probably not. Like, I get almost like overwhelmed that there are so many books in the series I haven't read yet. And so if I read one and then I buy the rest, or if I've like, let's say I'm on book 2 in a series and I really enjoy it, and then the rest of the series comes out, I can buy it because I already know that I enjoy it. But going into a brand new series and not knowing if I even enjoy it and like buying the rest of the books, I just don't like doing that. So Most of All You by Mia Sheridan is another book by the same author who I loved Archer's Voice, but I also feel like that book is almost an anomaly in a way because it kind of reminds me of Christina Lauren's writing. Like, I don't think that anything will come close to Love in Other Words, and I think it's the same for Archer's Voice. It's just such a unique story, so I don't know. Dream On by Angie Hockman. Cute cover. Literally bought the book for the cover. Couldn't tell you what it's about. Haven't even heard anyone talk about it. Don't even know about it. Literally the cover just looks so cute and I was like, this will be so cute to read. Yeah, we're just gonna let that move on to another family. And By a Thread by Lucy Score, we're letting this book go because my friend Kalila read this book, and granted she doesn't read like as much romance as I do. She probably reads more fiction. If you guys aren't following her, you guys definitely should because she gives the best recs, but this book has a lot of spice in it. She made very clear that this book has a lot of spice, and I do not really like reading books with like an immense amount of spice unless I feel like it does not overtake the plot. And this book is thick. So we're gonna let that one go because I'm sure someone will love it. Darling Venom by Parker S. Huntington. I read, what was the other book that I read by this author? It is literally on the tip of my tongue. I read something by this author. I can't even tell you what it's called. not Darling Venom. It's, wow, you can literally tell I read it this year or this last year, and I already forgot because I rated it like 2 stars. And it was because the spice is so wild, the story was kind of wild, it's a dark romance, so I don't think that I'll like this because it is a dark romance. Pretty Reckless, another dark romance. Travis by Mia Sheridan. This is actually about the cop in Archer's Voice, and I guess he gets a redemption story, and like, I don't think he needs a redemption arc. He was terrible in Archer's Voice. I don't really need to hear from him. Don't even know why I picked up that book. Maybe because I was so obsessed with the story and I just didn't want it to be over. The Last Letter by Rebecca Yarros. I am not a huge fan of military romances. There's just nothing in them that like intrigues me, so that one's gonna go. And Enneagram Empowered. This is about Enneagrams, and I really love learning about Enneagrams. I'm an Enneagram 7, which Enneagrams are just like a personality test. Like, it's fun. I don't really lean too deeply in like feeling like I am one thing based on anything, because I don't know, if God created me in his image, then it's like whatever I am is good, you know? So I just don't really lean too far into like learning about anything that is gonna dictate who I feel that I am. And so I got this book because I was like, oh, it would be cool to like learn about your Enneagram. And then I started reading it, and it was like all the great qualities and all the like negative qualities and things you need to work on. And some of them applied, some of them didn't. I feel like it was pretty accurate, but then I feel like it can be easy to fixate on those things and feel like you are those things. So yeah, this one is going to go to a new home. The next stack that I have is more books. I picked up The Plus One by Maisie Eddings. I think that this is I was gonna say I think it's a Christian romance, but actually I don't know. I think it's just no spice. It's cute, but I actually am finding that unless it's YA, I don't really enjoy books with absolutely no spice. I love it in YA, and I think it's because it is extremely like telling for the age. You know, like when you're a young adult, you're probably not gonna have any spice, but then in adult books, I'm just kind of like, okay, we can't get a kiss? Or like, even if like, for example, in Magnolia Parks, there's spice, but it's not detailed. Like they'll kind of be like, you know, they'll go into a room and they'll just like explain that they're like gonna hook up or something, but like they're just not explaining in depth. I've noticed that I feel like I enjoy that more than just like absolutely no spice, because like I'm 31, like having no spice at all, unless it's in YA, I feel like is just not as common. It is common, but just not as common. So there are some authors that I do enjoy reading, but most of the no spice books that I'll read are usually young adult. In Case of Heartbreak by Courtney Kay. I just picked this up because the cover's cute. That's literally why, and it's not summer anymore. I don't know when I'm gonna read this. So, and another thing about like giving these books away that I feel like is really what is making me grab them and just like want to give them away is because I'm already seeing authors and like their release dates coming up soon. And I know I'm gonna buy more books. Like I know I'm gonna buy more books. I'm never putting myself on a book buying ban because I think that buying books is an incredible thing, but I do think that I shouldn't hoard books. Like if I have books on my TBR that I haven't read, I usually don't let my friends read them because I like to read them first. So books that I've read, totally fine. Like people can read them all day long, but if they're books that I haven't read, they're just sitting there. And if I read 170 books last year, and I think my Goodreads goal for this year is 175. If I have over 175 books on my TBR right now, it's like literally not even possible for me to get through them in a year. I know I'm gonna be buying more books throughout the year, so it's just gonna grow and grow. So I think this is a great way to just like give these books another life. And if I think about them or like miss them or whatever, I can always go back and buy them. Or if you guys say like, hey, you need to keep that book, I will keep it and I'll read it, but I just like don't want to hoard books, you know what I mean? Like I think they should be read and they should be given love. Have You Seen Her by Catherine McKenzie. This book looked good, but it also looked like it was going to give a little too much detail and like the detective work and stuff, and I just didn't want to get bored. Will They or Won't They by Ava Wilden. I don't know what it is, but I don't really enjoy books as much when they are like not by indie authors. I don't know what it is, and maybe it's because I feel like when I'm buying books from indie authors, like that they are just like so new and like they're still like learning and like all the things. I hate when I feel like a book is like super cookie cutter, like when I can when I can predict the beginning, middle, and end, like I want to have some kind of change in there, and some of these books just like give that vibe, like I'm going to be able to predict it. This also is a book that Alyssa Sussman loved, who wrote Funny You Should Ask, and I literally rated that book 2 stars, so I feel like I won't like that. Hook, Line, and Sinker by Tessa Bailey. I read her first book in this series, and I enjoyed it when I read it. I think I rated it like 3 or 4 stars or something like that. But there's tons of spice in it. And now I just don't really read books with that much spice anymore. Or if I do, I feel like the romance has to be super impactful, or the story has to be super impactful or something. And I just like feel like this would go to somebody else. Authentically Izzy by Pepper Bashman. This is actually the Christian romance, and there is no spice in this one. This one actually looks really good, so let me know if you guys think that I should keep this one, because almost the entire book, actually I think the entire book is in emails, like literally, I'm flipping through it, almost the entire book is in straight emails of them going back and forth, so I feel like I would really like this, but again, nothing is grabbing me to this book, and I bought this early last year, so will I get to it? I don't know. So if you read it, let me know. It could be cute. Taking Chances by Molly McAdams. This is a really heart-wrenching story, but it is a military romance, and like I said, I'm not a huge like military romance girl. It says her first year away is turning out to be near perfect, but one weekend of giving in to the heated passion will change everything. I think it is about this girl who has parents who are in the military, and then she tries to like go out on her own and do her own thing, and then ends up falling in love with this like bad boy type. And I think her parents like don't approve or something like that. So like the guy isn't in the military, but I think the parents are, and she's like been moving around. I don't know. It has great reviews on it, so this could be another one that I keep, but again, I'm trying to go through these books, okay? Nothing But the Truth by Holly James. This one says that it's a page-turning debut. Lucy Green learns that when you make a wish, you don't always get what you want, but you might just get exactly what you needed. I think that this is magical realism, and I don't really enjoy magical realism that much. Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. This is another book by Alice Feeney because I read Rock, Paper, Scissors, enjoyed it, but I literally bought like 4 of her books after I read Rock, Paper, Scissors, and then I realized like, oh, you like fast-paced thrillers more than you like a slower-paced thriller. So I do have one of her books still on my TBR, but I think one is enough until I at least finish that one. Overkill by Sandra Brown. This one looked good. I think I got it in an airport, and I planned on reading it on the way, and then I literally just read the other books that I already had in my bag. So I don't even remember what this is about, but it can go. Be With Me by Jennifer Lynn Armentrout. I think I actually will keep this one because it's in a series. But the only thing that I hate about keeping this book is that it has 4 books in the series. The first book is called Wait For You, and I loved it, but I just don't know if I love the series enough to love the book enough to continue the series. It was a 4-star book, but I read it so long ago that I've kind of like forgotten the story. So I'm like, will I get back into it? I don't know. And it's also not even about the main characters in the book. It's about like their friends. So I kind of wanted to hear more from the main characters. Fake Dates and Mooncakes by Cher Lee. Literally bought this for the cover. Couldn't tell you what this is about. I feel like it's like a baking romance, but the cover is really cute. Let me know if you guys think I should keep any of these. Some of these books you guys are going to be like so sad about when I show them to you guys. This is the rest of the books in the series with Wait For You. Trust in Me is the second one, Stay With Me, Fire in You, and then I already showed you guys the other one. I think I'm going to give away the whole series. I haven't decided fully yet, but I really like Wait For You. I just don't know if I'm going to read it. The Coincidence of Callie and Caden. This is another book in the series. I think this is the first one. I remember reading this one, but I don't think I'm going to read it again, so I feel like I'm going to give this one away along with the second book so that someone can actually have the whole series. Mile High and The Right Move are books you guys are probably going to tell me to read. I just know it, but these are both written by Liz Tomford, and I have heard a lot of reviews from people that I truly trust with like so much, I don't know, just like they just like didn't really like these books. And I think the biggest qualm was Liz Tomford is a white woman writing about black characters, and the only representation that she gave them of being black was pretty much leaning into very stereotypical things about the characters, like wearing chains or things like that. And I just feel like if I read it, I wouldn't really like it. Also, these books are thick, like thick. And part of me is like, if I get into it, I don't like it, I'm gonna be so annoyed. So yeah, I don't know. I also feel like, granted, Jessa Hastings writes about Magnolia Parks and like she's black, but I feel like she's really celebrating her blackness, like her skin and her hair, and talking about how beautiful she is and qualities of her and all those things. But I just feel like this series is one that people love so much, and it recently received like accolades for I think a book that has like diverse characters or something. But like there are so many authors who are writing about black characters who are also black who are not getting those accolades. So I don't know, it just sits with me the wrong way. Like it just sits with me the wrong way. Nothing wrong with the author, nothing wrong with the book or people who like the book. I just feel like for me personally, I just don't think that I'll like it. And I could eat my own words. I could eat my own words. Like if I read it, maybe I would like it. So let me know if you guys think that I should keep it. You gotta give me a real strong, like a strong push for that one. Plot Twist by Erin LaRosa. Don't even know what this book's about. Literally bought it for the cover. Says she's written off more than she can chew. Couldn't even tell you what it's about. I actually just bought this one, but I am giving this one away. It's My Not So Perfect Life by Sophie Kinsella. So many of you guys said that I need to read a book by her, but you said I needed to read Confessions of like a Shopaholic or something like that. And I picked up this one instead because the other one wasn't available. And I think I'm going to give this one away and maybe get the other one that you guys said I should read, because you recommended the book to me. So how am I going to pick up a book that you didn't even recommend by the same author? Like I should just read the book you recommended and wait like for it to be available. The Firekeeper's Daughter. This actually has, it's by Angela Booley. It has like almost a 5-star rating. It's like 4.5 stars or something. It's a YA book, but it is talking about tragedy that is striking in the community, and it just looks like it's going to be something very difficult to read. It's also very thick, and I didn't see a ton of dialogue in it, so I've thought about keeping this one. So let me know if you guys think I should keep it, because I've heard great things about it. Breathe the Sky by Michelle Hazen. I just don't want any more, like, not anymore, but if I go into a book thinking it's going to be a higher rated book and I end up rating it 3 or 3.5 stars, that's one thing. But I feel like looking at this book, reading the synopsis, I can almost tell it's going to be a 3.5 star rating. Like, and I do not want to get into a book slump. I really have never been in one, and I really do not want to get into one. And I think I can see myself, like after I finished Into the Dark, I read, what did I read? Saving Noah. And then I also read, what was the other one? A graphic novel, Heartstopper. Both of those, 3 and 3.5 stars. And I just was like, I cannot read like 10 books in a row that are this rating. Like I read so many 3.5 star rated books last year. So that's one thing I really want to change this year. You've Been Served by Kristen Alicia. Another book that I think will probably be 3.5 stars. The Fault in Her Stars, I actually already read this. I read this in like high school, but I was planning on reading it again. But I don't think I'm actually going to read it again. So we're going to give that one away. When Life Gives You Lemons by Noor Sasha. Literally bought this for the cover. Cover looks super cute. I need to stop just buying books based off their covers, because I don't ever end up reading them. Like I usually read books that are highly recommended, or that I've heard someone like rave about, or like I just know something about. Even if I don't know what's going to happen in the book, like the excitement from the person sharing the book is what gets me excited about it. So when I pick up a book blind, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes I'm like, okay, like literally you picked it up for the cover. Kissing Kosher by Jean Meltzer. This is a baking romance, and I actually don't really care for baking romance, and I think it's because a lot of the time they focus on the baking and they don't focus as much on the romance. So we're gonna give that one away. Blind Date with a Book Boyfriend. This literally says on the front, a funny, dramatic, steamy novella. Steamy? No thank you. It looks so cute. It looks really good. Super easy to read. Tons of dialogue. But again, I feel like after reading Set the Record Straight by Hannah Bonham Young, that was a steamy novella. I don't think I can do steamy novellas. If I'm going to do spice, which is very rare, if I'm going to do it, it needs to have some more substance. Like it needs to have like a full book, because novellas just feel like I'm just reading straight erotica. I got this from Barnes, the poem book, and I got it like a while ago. I don't think I'm ever gonna read it. It has like just very classic poetry in it. like Shakespeare and stuff, and I don't think I'm gonna read it. Tom Lake by Anne Patchett. This is actually one that I'm thinking about keeping, but I think it's because the cover's cute. Like, I literally think that's why. The book itself, I don't even know what it's about, but the cover looks so cute, and I feel like this looks like something that like my mom would read. And also Meryl Streep is the person who like does the audiobook, so I've thought about reading it. But I just need someone to tell me it's good. That's what I need. Like, so if you guys have seen any of these books that you like, please comment below and let me know if you like them. And then the Holly by Stephen King. It's Stephen King's newest book. And this book is a horror, and so I'm very nervous to read this one. So I'm going to give this one to another home. I thought about keeping it because it does look good, but I've never read anything from Stephen King, and I feel like it shouldn't be something that is like out of my typical genre. If you guys enjoyed this video, let me know if you guys liked any of the books that I shared and if I should keep any of them, or if you're just like encouraging me to give them to Free Little Libraries. I'm planning on going like all around town and giving them away. Like, literally imagine over 100 books. Like, that's gonna fill up so many Free Little Libraries, and they're all like such good books. So I'm really excited for that. But I also feel like it'll be nice for people to get books that are like basically brand new. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. It's gonna be a really good video. I feel like you guys will really enjoy it, and it's a very creative and unique idea. So I'll see you guys on Tuesday for the next one. Bye guys.